He's looking around the fucking screen like the birds are gonna be there. He doesn't know what a screen is. Steve, my cat, the orange one. He's Anna pulled up a video of just like birds, like pecking away at something, and he is very interested in that video, and he keeps trying to look around the screen for the birds, and he cannot find them. Still like right off.
My husband finally got the lights up. Yay! Hello everyone. In my last video, I talked about my overall writing process, but today I'm going to talk about character creation. Now, character creation and world building are the two things that are most important to come first, and I would talk about them at the same time, but world building is such a broad and vast subject. I'm going to do my own set of videos on world building, so stay tuned for that. Right now I'm just going to focus on characters. I have various different ways that I like to create characters, and I'll do my best to describe my process, but I've never really put this to voice before, so forgive me if some of it doesn't make any sense. I will do my best, I promise. No matter which way I use to make a character, there's some very important things that I need to make any character that I start out with, and I call these the basics. The basics are name, face character, voice style, appearance and clothing, family and friends, home life, occupation, life goal, and greatest fear. I'll get into deeper things for a character during the questionnaire phase, but for right now, I just need the basics. Okay, let's get into the first way I create characters. Now, with each way, I will also present one of my characters that I made in this way. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I'll link my page below. You can get to know my characters better. You can also follow me on Tumblr, but I don't post as often. I'm also on Facebook, but I also don't post as often there. So let's get into the first way. My favorite way to create a character is to just sit back and let a character come to life. It's more common than you'd think. I see a lot of authors complaining about their characters going off the outline, or doing things they didn't want them to do, or becoming more important in the story even though they were made to be a side character. Characters can take on a life of their own if you let them, but instead of fighting against my characters, I listen to them and let them influence the plot and the storylines that they will have, so I don't really have this issue. I'm in tune with my characters pretty well. I typically let them name themselves as long as they stay within the linguistics of whatever world we're in. I also let them decide things like appearance, backstory, and personality, within reason, of course. To use this creation technique, you have to be very in tune with your imaginative nature and your subconscious creative self. This is an easy way for me because I was raised on tabletop roleplay gaming. I know how to just slip into character, and I know how to let a character choose their own storylines, but I recognize that this may not be the best creation way for all of you. So while it's my favorite and the first way, stay tuned. There are other ways to create characters. We can't all write fun stories with the voices in our head. I get it. I'm going to go with Misty Falls characters since that's the novel that I've been most public about. I do have some other storylines that I'm going to be putting out publicly, but they're not ready just yet. So Misty Falls it is. The character I created like this that comes to mind first in Misty Falls is Anton. Anton will not let me get sleep. He will not let me rest. He wants to exist and has wanted to exist for a long time, to the point that he's also in my old book, Hybrid, as a young, cringy version of himself. So I would definitely say Anton is the main offender of this kind of character creation. The old-fashioned way is pretty simple. You just take a list, piece of paper, a character sheet, and using the aid of dice, cards, or a number generator or whatnot, you create a character from the ground up, out of nothing. Focusing less on what a character looks like or acts like, instead we focus on what a character can be, do, or have at the beginning of the story. Once the character is figured out numerically and you know exactly what they are, then you can focus on looks, appearance, clothing and gear. It's best to at least get hair, eye color, skin color, height, weight, species, clothes, and any other defining features like tattoos, scars, special jewelry to them, things that make them them to the eye. You can name this kind of character in all kinds of ways. You can use a name generator. You can look through lists of fantasy names or real names and find one you like, perhaps move some letters around to make it unique or match the linguistics of your world. Or you can just make a name up, given the language rules of what you're working with. Especially with fantasy, I like to just make up my own names if I'm not changing names that are familiar to me, so it has its own personalized flair. A character in Misty Falls I made in this way, I would say, is Noah. I made Noah on paper first and decided what he looked like with my writing team later. It was more important to me to know what he could do than who he was at the time, so that character creation mode worked best for me. And luckily, one of my team members picked up on the character and really liked him a lot, so didn't have to worry about it. Now, this character creation process might be considered a little taboo by the writing community, I don't know, but I love it and I utilize it with abandon. And it's the mix and match. That's when you consume fictional media or, any media for that matter, and you look at characters that you like, people that you like in real life, historical figures, and you truly study them, find out all of the characteristics of them. I keep a little character journal that I research characters with, and I keep lists. I would at least record the basics of characters that you would make for fictional characters, so you get used to that kind of creation style, and make sure that you really pay attention even to characters that you don't particularly like, so you can learn why you don't like them. Balance is important, and to understand writing, you have to understand what's wrong with writing, you have to understand what's wrong with characters, and what you do and don't like. So sorry, you have to research things that make you go bleh. Next, you make a list of character traits that for this character that you're studying, all in a line. Then you split them between character traits you like and character traits you don't like. You can do this for several characters and make a big list, so you're mixing and matching aspects of many different characters to create someone unique. But you have to be careful to make someone unique. Don't just make a carbon copy of an already made character. By looking at the traits that you have, that you like and dislike, you can make someone that isn't already made. Make sure you add negative qualities, or else it's just going to be a Mary Sue or a Gary Stu, and nobody likes those. So usually I would look at least 3 characters, maybe more, for one new character. And I don't worry about using the face characters of an inspiration character because I just don't. I just really don't. If it fits the character and it works out for the character and you can't find anybody else, just make sure you don't say, they looked like this person in your manuscript. Describe what your character looks like. And please make sure that their names are totally different. I don't mind if they start with the same letter, but that is about as far as it should ever go. A character in Misty Falls I made this way is David Foster. I was inspired very hard by an episode of Supernatural in season 6 called Live Free or Twy Hard, where the main character, Dean, gets turned into a vampire, even though he's a vampire hunter, and that did something to me. And an episode of Buffy in season 2 called Nightmares, where Buffy, the vampire slayer, gets turned into a vampire because a little boy is bringing all their nightmares to life. And even at a young age, I saw that storyline and I wish there was more of it in the show. I want me some vampire hunters that have to deal with the crisis of being turned into their greatest enemies. Moral conflict is very exciting to me. As I've said, there's many different ways to create a character, but these are my top 3 ways. Comment below what your favorite way to make a character is, if it's one of mine, or let me know what your favorite way is so I can research it and maybe add it to my repertoire of character creation process ways. I love characters. I think they are the driving force of any story, and they make us care about what's going on. We can escape our real lives and become someone new and feel their pain and rejoice when they're excited. And I love making characters. I think it's such a fun process, and I've been doing it all my life, so I've really grown to appreciate it in a way that I think I haven't seen very often. A lot of times I hear that the creation or the naming process is really stressful, but for me it is a way to express myself and be creative and feel the life of the character come to fruition and the start of the story really start to take shape. And it's a very exciting time for me, and I love making characters. I don't like making characters that I'm never going to use. That makes me sad because I get too attached to them and then I want to do things with them. But since I write multi-points of view storylines, I like to have a nice bucket full of people that I can traumatize in my writing and play around with and make a quality story with a lot of different character types and personality types that I can explore. One of my more obscure hobbies is researching random things that have nothing to do with my writing, and sometimes I find some fun gems like this one. Pneumona ultramicroscopic silicovolcanocoinosis. Pneumono ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Pneumono ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Pneumono ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis is the longest word in the English dictionary. Though it's not technically a real word, it was made up to be fancy and long. But it's a term for a more commonly known disease called silicosis. It's contracted by breathing in microscopic dust after a volcanic explosion. So they definitely got it in Pompei. And I might get it if Yellowstone goes. There is no known cure for silicosis. You can only treat the symptoms, and it is usually fatal. Some people do live from it, but I looked up the death rate, and I was seeing numbers like 50,000 in the year 1900s and 43,000 in like 2013 or something. So people are still dying from it, and it's my favorite word. Silicosis doesn't show symptoms for many years, sometimes up to 10. So there is at least that. If you contract it, you have time to prepare. Set aside all your affairs and see the world if you want. But you'll be coughing and hacking up a lung, and your skin might turn blue, but hey, you got some ears. I learned this a long time ago, back in school. I don't know what grade, but I remember being very excited that I learned how to spell it. I can still spell it to this day, but it's still hard to say properly. I learned it as pneumono ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis, and that's wrong. It's pneumono ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Coniosis. Something like that. But you can learn how to pronounce it and what all the little parts of the word are in a video that I'm going to link below by a really cool teacher that I found on YouTube. She's known on here as Mrs. R Science Class K-12. I haven't taken her classes. We haven't even really corresponded that much, but I've looked through her videos, and they're fun. But her video called Pneumono ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis in Pompei goes into all the different meanings of each small Greek particle of the word while she's in Pompei. So that's pretty fun. So I'll link it below so you don't have to try to type that out. It's a killer. But learn how to say it for parties, you know. It's better than anti-disestablishmentarianism by several letters. So learn it. I have some exciting news. This Sunday at 1:55 Central American Time, which I think is 7:55 London time, I will be doing a live podcast with Pulse Urbex here on YouTube this Sunday. It'll be about an hour long, maybe a little shorter than that, I'm not really sure. You can submit your questions for me to be answering on Pulse Urbex's page. I will be talking about my I Was Raised in a Haunted House series and my paranormal experiences. I'm not entirely sure what all I'll be saying because, as I said, I'll be answering your guys' questions and other questions from Pulse Urbex's fan base. So, yeah, that's exciting. I won't be able to edit out all my ums, but that's okay. They want me to be personable, my own self, so they get to deal with little old me, ums included. So again, that's this upcoming Sunday at 1:55 p.m. Central American Time on Pulse Urbex's YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button, and if you want to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe. Next week, I'll be coming back with some more I Was Raised in a Haunted House. This one is going to be called Inhabitants Part 1, and it will be guest starring my brother, Saahs, who does all the art for my channel. He did all these little cuties. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there until I see you again. Bye! What a sweet boy. Sleepy